I was 23 when my father first taught me how to change a tire in the rain. It was a Friday evening in late October, the kind of relentless downpour that turned our quiet neighborhood on Maple Street into a series of shallow rivers running along the curbs. Our house was a modest two-story colonial, built in 1958, with peeling white paint and a garage that smelled perpetually of oil and old tools. Dad had just come home from his shift at the auto plant, his uniform still damp from the factory floor, when my beat-up '92 Honda Civic decided to betray me with a flat on the driveway. I was home from college for the weekend, frustrated and soaked, kicking at the deflated rubber like it had personally offended me. He didn't yell or sigh, he just grabbed the jack from the trunk and motioned me over. "Come on, son," he said, his voice cutting through the rain like it was nothing. "Strength isn't about never falling, it's about getting back up and making sure the people you love don't have to stand in the storm alone." We worked side by side for 45 minutes, him guiding my hands on the lug nuts, explaining torque specs and why you always loosen them before jacking up the car. By the time the spare was on and we were both drenched to the bone, I felt something shift inside me, a quiet respect that went beyond the usual father-son dynamic. That day, under the gray sky, I felt invincible, like I could handle anything life threw at me because he was there showing me how. Now, at 47, with gray creeping into my beard and a slight ache in my knees from years of desk work turned caregiving, I'm the one holding his hand as we navigate the cracked sidewalk leading to the memory care clinic on Elm Avenue. It's a low brick building with wide automatic doors and a reception area that smells faintly of antiseptic and fresh coffee. Dad's steps are hesitant these days, his once steady stride reduced to a shuffle that requires my arm for balance. His grip is surprisingly fragile, the calluses from decades of wrenching engines softened by time and inactivity. The doctor, a kidney neurologist named Dr. Elena Ramirez, calls it early-onset dementia, diagnosed officially 3 years ago when he was 74. But to me, it's more than a clinical label, it's the slow, insidious theft of the man who once hoisted me onto his shoulders at the county fair in 1987, letting me wave at the Ferris wheel lights from what felt like the top of the world. He taught me that real men cry only when no one's watching, a lesson he demonstrated the night Mom packed her bags and left when I was 15, sitting alone in the kitchen with his head in his hands until dawn. Our story didn't begin with decline or reversal, it started rooted in sacrifice and quiet heroism, stretching back 32 years to when Dad was 45th exact age I am now, and I was a gangly 15-year-old raging against the world after Mom's departure. She left on a Tuesday in June, taking only her clothes and the good china, leaving behind a note that said she needed to find herself in California. Dad didn't chase her, he just rolled up his sleeves and kept going. He worked double shifts at the auto assembly plant in the industrial district, 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, clocking in at 6 a.m. and out at 6 p.m., sometimes later if overtime was available. His base pay was $4,200 a month before taxes and union dues, which ate up another $800. Rent on our Maple Street house was $850, utilities averaged $220, and groceries for the two of us ran about $450. Every leftover penny after the bare essentials went straight into a college fund he opened at the local credit union the day I was born, August 12, 1978. He contributed $300 monthly without fail, even during strikes or layoffs. By the time I graduated high school in 1996, that fund had ballooned to $48,000, earned through sheer discipline. He skipped family vacations and Torellano trips to the Grand Canyon or Disney like my friends' families. His '98 Ford F-150 pickup, bought used for $12,500, racked up 280,000 miles before he finally replaced it in 2010. Lunches were bologna sandwiches on white bread, packed in brown bags, while his co-workers splurged on 12 subs from the deli truck. "Your future's worth more than my comfort," he'd say every time I protested, ruffling my hair with grease-stained fingers. I went to state college on that money, a 4-year mechanical engineering program costing $18,000 annually in tuition and fees. I graduated debt-free in 2000, landed an entry-level job at an engineering firm paying $72,000 my first year, and sent him photos from my cubicle on day one. At my graduation ceremony in the university auditorium, he wore the same navy suit he'd bought for Mom's funeral in 1992, the one with the slightly frayed cuffs, beaming like I'd won the lottery. The reversal crept in subtly, like fog rolling off the river at dawn, starting about 5 years ago when I was 42. I was married to Sarah, my high school sweetheart. We tied the knot in 2005 at the Little Chapel on Main Street, a simple ceremony with 80 guests and a reception at the VFW Hall for $3,200 total. Our daughter Emily was starting kindergarten that fall, all pigtails and curiosity, asking a million questions about everything from dinosaurs to why the sky was blue. Dad retired at 70 after exactly 45 years at the plant, qualifying for a pension of $2,800 monthly plus Social Security kicking in at $1,600, for a total of $4,400 before Medicare deductions. He moved into our spare bedroom in the suburbs of 1 800 square foot ranch wed bought in 2012 with my signing bonus from a promotion, mortgage at $1,450 a month. Just until I find a senior apartment, he said, unpacking his duffel bag with clothes folded military neat. But we both knew it was permanent. The market for one-bedrooms was tight, and he hated the idea of strangers as neighbors. The first signs were easy to dismiss. Forgetting where he parked the car at the grocery store on Oak Street 3 times in 1 month. Then the bills he paid the electric company $180 twice in July and nothing in August, leading to a shut-off notice. I took over his finances seamlessly, setting up auto transfers of $1,200 monthly from his checking to ours to cover his share of groceries $300, utilities $150, and the basics. His medications started: simple blood pressure pills at $45 for a 90-day supply, cholesterol meds at $60. But as the dementia progressed, confirmed by an MRI in year 1 showing shrinkage in the hippocampus, costs climbed. Aricept at $180 monthly, then Namenda added at $220. Over 4 years, I logged $6,000 in home modifications: a walk-in shower with non-slip tiles installed by a contractor for $2,800, grab bars in the bathroom and hallway at $450, and a ramp at the front steps custom-built for $2,750 to accommodate his occasional unsteadiness. A medical alert pendant system cost $350 upfront plus $45 monthly monitoring. Hearing aids became necessary when he started turning the TV volume to 80. The audiologist fitted him with topophthalene models at $2,800 the pair, because cheaper ones distorted Emily's voice during story time. I didn't resent it initially. This was the cycle, wasn't it? The natural turn of the wheel. Head poured into me, now I poured back. But the nights stretched interminably. Dad began wandering at 2 a.m., padding through the house in his slippers, confused and searching. I'd wake to the creak of floorboards, find him in the kitchen staring at the refrigerator like it held secrets. "Where's your mother?" Head ask, voice small and lost. I'd guide him back to bed, reminding him gently every single time that she left in '93, that it was just us now, and Sarah and Emily. The doctor upped dosages, added therapies. I sold my Harley-Davidson Softail, bought in 2008 for $15,000 and ridden maybe 5,000 miles, fetching $8,500 at auction to bridge a 6-month pension delay due to paperwork errors. Emily's college fund started with 100 monthly deposits into a 529 plan the day she was born in 2010, paused for 8 months, $800 for Ganiso. I could afford in-home care aides 3 days a week at $125 per 4-hour visit, totaling $1,500 monthly. My spreadsheet, updated every Sunday after tucking him in with a glass of water and his pills, showed a running total of $42,300 outlaid over 4 years, $18,400 in direct medical, $9,200 in home mods and aids, $8,500 from the bike sale applied to gaps, $6,200 in paused family savings. The internal turning point hit like a punch on a Tuesday in March 2 years ago. I'd rushed home from work, me office 22 miles away, commute 45 minutes in traffic, carrying takeout from Giovanni's Italian, his favorite since the 80s, 2 lasagna entrees at $14 each, garlic bread 6, total $34 with tip. He was in his recliner, the one Wed bought for $450 when he moved in, staring at a Cubs game on TV, the team he followed religiously since 1969. "Who are you?" he asked as I set the plate on the tray table, his eyes vacant. Sarah was at her book club, discussing some thriller. Emily at a sleepover with her best friend Mia. It was just us in the lamplight. My name Michael, the one Head given me after his own father, caught in my throat like gravel. I knelt, the way he used to when I woke from nightmares about monsters under the bed. "I'm your son, Dad. Remember Lake Benson in '89? You caught that 12-pound largemouth bass on a spinnerbait, reeled it in yelling like you'd won the series." His face flickered with recognition for 10 seconds, then fogged over. That night, alone in the garage surrounded by his old tool chest, I cried not the silent tears of grief, but hot, angry ones that burned my cheeks. Something inside me hardened, not against him, but against the unfairness of it all. The next morning, I cancelled our planned Disney trip flights: $1,200, hotel $2,100, tickets $900, total $4,200 booked 6 months prior, with $800 in non-refundable fees lost. And hired Maria full-time. She was a certified nursing assistant, $22 an hour, 40 hours a week, annual cost $45,760 before taxes. To cover it, I took weekend consulting gigs through a freelance platform, designing C80 models for $1,800 monthly after expenses. The conflicts didn't come from villains but from the relentless grind of the disease and the bureaucracy entwined with it. Early on, nursing agencies called persistently 5 times in 1 month pushing for facility placement. "He's a stage 4 fall risk per hour assessment," the coordinator said after Dad tripped on the living room rug, bruising his hip badly enough for an ER visit at $450 copay. I installed security cameras throughout the house, 8 units, 1,200 total from a big box store, wired to my phone app for real-time monitoring. Then unannounced visits from Adult Protective Services social workers, 3 in 6 months, each lasting 45 minutes, poking into cabinets, questioning routines. 1. A harried woman named Ms. Hargrove suggested petitioning for guardianship. "Are you sure you can manage without burnout?" she asked, eyeing the modified bathroom. I showed her the setup: grab bars tested to 500 pounds, non-slip mats, emergency pull cords linked to 911. She left with notes but no action. Dad's behaviors escalated in waves. Outbursts at Maria: "You're stealing my wrenches." When she reorganized the garage for safety, hiding tools he hadn't touched in years. He'd hoard car keys in his pillowcase, insisting he needed to get to work, though he hadn't driven since surrendering his license in 2020 after a minor fender bender costing $1,200 in repairs. De-escalation rituals developed: drives to the old plant, 18 miles round trip, 40 in gas, parking in the lot where Head spent decades, letting him reminisce about the 75 strike or the time he fixed the Boss Cadillac on his lunch break. Allies appeared like lifelines in a storm. Dr. Patel, the neurologist we'd seen since diagnosis, became more than a doctor, a strategist. During late appointments, I scheduled post-work, Head adjust meds, write letters detailing why home was optimal: lower infection risk, familiar environment reducing agitation by 40 per studies. "Families like yours keep the system honest," he said, handing me a folder of resources. Linda, our neighbor 2 doors down, widowed in 2021 when her husband succumbed to cancer, started with casseroles, chicken tetrazzini, 0 cost but hours of comfort. Her father had vascular dementia, she knew the drill. She sat with Dad Tuesdays while I grocery shopped, then invited me to her support group at the community center: 12 caregivers, men and women aged 40 to 65, meeting Thursdays 79 p.m. Stories poured out: lost inheritances, spouses in facilities costing $8,000 monthly. Tom, a retired CPA in the group, reviewed my finances gratis one Saturday over coffee, restructured Dad's pension distributions to minimize taxes, saving $1,200 annually, applied for VA benefits Dad qualified for from his brief Army stint in '68, adding $300 monthly. Even Mr. Jenkins at the corner pharmacy, where Dad had filled scripts since 1995, waived co-pays 3 times. Tell your old man the 72 Cubs still owe him for that game. Confrontations built like a crescendo. First, the insurance battle: a claims adjuster denied extended home care, citing pre-existing clauses in a 20-minute call. I compiled evidence: 5 years of records, progression timelines from Dr. Patel, cost breakdowns: home $45,000 year versus facility $92,000 per, local quotes. Drove 40 miles to their regional office, presented in a conference room for 2 hours. Approval came via email that night. Then the family rift: sister Claire, older by 3 years, living in Denver with her tech job paying $120,000, flew in unannounced after a year of radio silence. Over pot roast dinner, 28 in ingredients, Dad dozing at the table, she declared, "Assisted living is best. Crestwood Manor has openings, $7,500 a month." I spread the spreadsheet: her visits 2 since diagnosis, contributions 0, mine 68,000 logged, including 12,000 in foregone vacations and hobbies. "He's my dad too," she snapped. Argument escalated: Emily upstairs crying, Sarah mediating. Claire promised 500 monthly checks, 3 texts with excuses, then ghosting. The pinnacle was legal, last November 14th in County Courthouse, room 204, oak benches and fluorescent hum. A social worker's report after Dad wandered to the park 3 blocks away, found by a jogger, confused but unharmed, triggered emergency guardianship hearing. I prepared obsessively 3-inch binder, 142 pages Dr. Patel affidavit 4 pages, Mariah's logs, daily entries, 18 months, Linda's statement on Dad's quality of life, Tom's financial viability report, bank statements itemizing every 1,200 transfer, 450 med fill. Dad beside me in court, suit pressed, holding my hand, whispering about the '67 World Series, Gibson versus Lonborg. Guardian ad litem, a sharp attorney named Ms. Lopez, probed financial strain? Emotional toll? I countered with data: income stable at $110,000 combined with Sarah's teaching salary, burnout managed via group and respite. Cross-exam exposed social workers overload: 42 cases, visit rushed to 22 minutes. Judge Harlan, 60s, silver hair, reviewed overnight. Ruling: petition denied, home care affirmed with quarterly check-ins. As we exited, Dad patted my back. "Good job, kid." Like changing that tire. Resolution unfolded gently, deliberately. 6 months ago, sold the old house for $410,000 after $15,000 in updates: paint, flooring, bought a one-story ranch nearby, 320,000, 2,200 square feet, Dad's wing with garden view, ensuite bath. Mortgage 1,800, but equity covered. Resumed MLS fund at 300 monthly, balance now 22,000. Travels resumed weekend to Smoky Mountains, cabin 800, fishing at a stocked lake where he caught a trout with help, 400 gear. I volunteer at the group, mentoring newbies with template spreadsheets, benefit checklists. Dad's lucid days recalls my first Little League home run, age 12, off a fastball or wrecking his truck at 16, 2,100 repair he paid without anger.